Hey guys, Dusty here. Today I'm excited to be giving my first impressions review on the new On Running Cloudultra 2. I really enjoyed the first version of this shoe and it appears they've made quite a few improvements on the second version. And we'll get started with the basic specs on the shoe and then I'll go over my experience running in it over my first few runs. So the Cloudultra 2 in my men's size 8.5 comes in a little bit lighter than the first version at 10 ounces or 283 grams. I'm unsure of the stack height, however the heel to toe drop has dropped slightly. It used to be 8 millimeters in the first version. Now you're having a 6 millimeter heel to toe drop. The upper on the shoe is pretty nice. There's this first mesh type material. It's almost like a fishnet. It appears to be pretty durable. You also have plenty of protection around the shoe. And then the biggest change from the first version is this new soft knitted sock like entry. So the first version of the shoe was very hard to get on. I know some people tried to get their foot in the shoe and they just couldn't even do it. So that was a huge barrier to entry for some people. That won't be the case in this shoe. It is all one piece like the first version, but it's like a knit material, so it's very stretchy. You also have two pull tabs, one on the rear, one on the front. So again, that's going to make it really easy to put this shoe on. And then once you have it on, it's also going to help a little bit in keeping dirt and debris out of your shoe while you're running. And again, just like the first version, it has this little, I think it's kind of gimmicky, but they have this little flip here at the bottom of the laces. And the thinking behind that is if your feet swell significantly, you can flip this little lock on the laces and it'll help the shoe expand a little bit and give your foot a little bit more room to breathe. For me personally, with the first version, I barely ever messed around with that. I know many others that had the first version of the shoe and they barely ever touched that flip lock. But to be fair, if you're a trail runner and you know that your foot does tend to swell quite significantly, then maybe yes, you might see a benefit from that little lock. So maybe it's a little bit gimmicky, but it is a cool idea nonetheless. Now we move along to the midsole, and again, that's where I'm going to say another huge change in the shoe has come. On is still using their Helion midsole foam, but they've tweaked it slightly and the durometer or the softness of this midsole has been greatly improved. You can just see when I compress this midsole that it's compressing quite easily, and that has really improved the softness of the ride of the shoe, especially compared to the first version. Then if we move along to the outsole, On is still using their Mission Grip rubber, and to me the outsole looks almost identical to the first version. However, On is saying they've tweaked it slightly, the placement of some of the lugs. And with the new version, the Cloudultra 2, On says that you're getting 50% more ground contact with this new outsole. I'm not sure I feel that when I'm running. However, 50% more ground contact for a trail shoe is huge. So I'll have to do a bit more testing on some really technical or steep downhill sections and see if I feel like this shoe grips way better than the previous version. Now another note to make about this outsole is it's very mild for a trail shoe. So it has really shallow lugs. I believe the depth on these lugs are only 3.5 millimeters. So that's going to make the shoe not a very good option if you're running through really nasty trail conditions like snow or mud. However, that does make this shoe a really nice door to trail option. So if you're someone who runs quite a bit of pavement to get to your trails, this is going to be a really good option for you. In fact, over the few runs I've done in the shoe, there's been quite a bit of pavement, and this shoe feels like a really nice road shoe. And then so far, once I get to the trails, it's been able to handle everything with ease. It's just when it starts raining here on Vancouver Island and the trails get real sloppy, this one isn't going to be able to dig into that type of terrain and muddy trails as well as some other shoes on the market. And for me, in the type of trail running that I do, typically it involves a decent amount of pavement to get to the trails, and then the trails themselves are usually hard packed trails, and a shoe like the Cloudultra 2 is the perfect shoe for me for the type of running that I do. Also, this is called the Cloudultra, meaning it can go the ultra distance. This shoe is a good option for ultra runners, so you know it's going to be able to handle those long distance runs. Oh, I don't think I mentioned it, the Cloudultra 2 does fit true to size. The first version, I believe most people had to go up half a size, so they fixed the sizing with the new version, and I would say the width is pretty average. Might even fit a little bit wider than the first version, which was also a problem for some people. That first version was not only really narrow fitting, but also fit a little bit short. And yes, for those of you wondering, the insoles are removable, and they also have this cool design on the bottom. Now in terms of price, we have seen a little bit of a price jump. In Canada, the Cloudultra 2 is retailing for $230, and in the US you're going to be looking at $180. So that's definitely up there, and like I've said in many other videos, typically you're going to pay a little bit more of a premium to get an On running shoe. However, I do think that this is On's nicest trail shoe to date, especially if you're someone who, like myself, does a lot of door or road to trail running. And I think that's going to be it for my first impressions review. Let me put on another 60 miles onto this shoe, and then I'll give you my full review. And like always, if you have any questions, just leave your comments down below and I'll make sure I get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.